I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. I'm here today to do a review on the PSE Miniburner XT Compound bow, suited for kids. It's very adjustable and what I consider the best kids compound bow on the market. And why do I consider it the best kids compound bow? Not because I've got PSE shirt on. It's the lightest kids bow on the market to start off with in physical weight. I've just done a review of all the kids compounds and this bow came up best. It was the most accurate, it was the lightest, second fastest of the kids compounds, but very adjustable, and one of the cheapest kids compounds when you're talking compression limbs, cast riser, as opposed to plastic limbs, plastic riser. So this review, I want to talk about how you adjust this bow and a bit about it, and some of the features which I didn't discuss when I was comparing kids compound bows in the other video. So the Miniburner comes in a purple, which is that one. It's a very dark purple, so suitable for boys or girls. Good for target archery. It also comes in a Skullworks, which is actually a black riser with Skullwork limbs on the pattern there. They are deer skulls, very hard to see. The pattern, you can see there's a pattern, and also comes in the camo finish. So 3 colours. It comes in 29 pounds, 40 pounds and 50 pounds. The bows I generally recommend are 40 pounds or 30 pounds because this bow is aimed at the kids market. Even though the draw length goes out to 28 inches, it's still aimed at the smaller kid. And when I say smaller kid, a 6-year-old to the 12, 13-year-old. As soon as you go to 13, you're really starting to push adult intermediate bows like the PSE Stinger and other bows of that sort of nature. And just because of the axle size being so short on the Miniburner, axle on this is 26 inches, which is very short. So some things about the bow. It's got the compression limbs, which you see pretty standard on most of the PSE limbs, PSE bows. So what that means is as you draw this bow back, this limb's moving downwards, and when you shoot it moves upwards, and the bottom limb does the opposite, so it moves down. So when you shoot the bow, there's very little force on this bow moving forward in your hand. The compression limbs, because this is a piece of fiberglass which is under lots of pressure, means that it puts more tension on the strings and cables, which means the bow shoots better because the arrow's going to come out of the string straighter. If it wasn't compression limbs like most of the other kids' bows on the market, these strings won't be under a lot of tension. They'll be sloppy, and when you shoot, the string will move left to right, so you'll get a lot of fluctuation in the shot. So I want to adjusting this bow. The bow is adjustable obviously here through poundage on your limbs, but also as you shorten the bow in the module, it's got a rotating module just here. As you shorten the draw length, it also reduces poundage. So a 40-pound bow, when you shorten it to a 21-inch bow, there's a little chart here which tells you how to adjust it. It basically drops the poundage back. So a 40-pound bow at 20 inches may be 30-pound bow, and there's a chart here which shows you all the adjustments you can make on this, and it shows you what the poundage is and what it adjusts to. So, but my rule of thumb is most kids who I target this bow at will be around a 21-inch, not 21, 19-inch, 20-inch draw length. And that bow will be, they generally start at about 12, 13 pounds. I can get a 40-pound bow down to that. Now I can't get a 40-pound bow back by just adjusting the limbs. I need to adjust the cables to get that sort of adjustment out of a 19, because this bow here, this is a 40-pound bow, and it says it goes down to 5 pounds, but that's not really correct. It goes down to 5 pounds when your draw length is 11 inches. Now, 11 inches is going to be about a 3 or 4-year-old kid. Now, a 3 or 4-year-old kid's probably not going to be shooting this bow. So, whether that's misleading or not, I'm not here to say. It is adjustable, and there are settings to make this bow 11 inches, but it's something that doesn't really occur in real life. Most kids, I've sold a lot of these Miniburners, and I'm going to say 95% of these bows sold are going to be around 20 inches in draw length. The poundage is always going to be around 13 to 12 in poundage. The 50-pound bow I can't adjust down enough for basically all the kids I've sold this bow to. I can adjust it, and I'm going to go through how I adjust this, the 40-pound bow down to 13 pounds and the adjustments on that just in a second on how I do that. So for me, for a child, 30-pound child will generally not exceed 30 pounds till the age of maybe 12, and this bow is readily sold, easy to sell. I mean, this is going to be the easiest bow ever to sell. They cost retail probably, I'm going to shut behind me, $370. $370. You're probably going to get $250 when you sell this bow, because that easy. There's a whole bunch of people wanting kids' bows. They're very, very rarely sold because there's always other kids in the family coming along to buy a bow. So quick features of this bow: multiple sight pins here, which is standard on PSE, the narrow grip, which is standard on PSE, stabilizer, arrow rest adjustment, the PSE bracket here, which is all standard on compound bows, easy to set up. But I'm going to talk about how you adjust this cam because it's kind of unique. So we're going to have a look at that now. Here to look at the adjustment on the Miniburner. So the first thing on this side here of the wheel, you've got two settings here and down the bottom. Now basically the rule of thumb is with a bow, if you shorten the string, you're reducing poundage. So shorter string, shorter draw equals less weight. So by shortening this string, you're also reducing the poundage. Now the opposite happens with the cables. So the longer the cable equals less weight. And the reason for that is because it's actually having exactly the opposite effect of the other one. Shortening this string is basically shortening here, and lengthening the cable is actually taking the pressure off these limbs. So when you combine both, what's happening is these limbs will actually move up in this direction here. So they're going to move up. Now I just want to... So the Miniburner will come set on the longest setting here, there, on that little module there. Moving it to this module up here, you need a bow press to do that. So you've got two modules. I'll just draw it because I don't know if you can see it on the board. You've got two modules like that, which the string sits on. It sits on that module at the moment, and the string comes, the cam looks like this, and the string comes off here. Moving it to this module here is actually shortening the string. So moving this to here, you're shortening the string, so you're reducing the poundage and shortening the draw length. How much is it going to shorten the draw length? This is about ½ an inch here and ½ an inch at the bottom, so about 1 inch. It will drop about 5 pounds off this bow by doing that adjustment. Now on the back side here of the cam, you have, which is standard on a lot of PSEs, it's got a little groove here which says performance, and that's how it comes set from the factory, performance. Now if you pull on it and lift it across like that, it just clips in. So pull it out, move it across, that's performance, because that's making this is shorter. So we're going to make this cable longer by moving that into that groove, and there's a growth setting there. That will be not about ½ an inch, almost 5 pounds by that adjustment. But I need more than that, because if this is a 40-pound bow and the parent's wanting a bow for a 10-year-old, I need to get this bow to about 13 pounds. And most parents are going to want a bow which has got adjustment from 40 downwards, because they want this bow to last the child. So what I do, I'm going to grab a bow I've done it to here. There's two pegs up the top here, so it starts there and it normally wraps around there. We actually move to the second peg, so we're actually lengthening this cable further, and we then put it over the performance. I could then unplug it and move it to the other setting to get even more. So by moving it here to this setting here, and over the performance, and here to the shortest here, I've now reduced this bow from a 40-pound bow, and it gets down to about 11 to 12 pounds in poundage by the time I wind out the limbs. Now you need a bow press to do this, and it's not particularly quick. When I say it's not particularly quick, it takes time, because you've got to adjust the draw length for the child as well here. So by the time you set all this up for the bow, you're probably looking at about 15 minutes, 20 minutes work, while the child's there to check the draw length. And you need a bow press, so you can't do this at home. All you can do at home is adjust here the draw length, and it's got settings from A through to J. A, if you rotate it through that way, it's actually increasing the draw length. Each letter is 1/2 inch, and actually you've got further settings on this to even make it shorter, down to 11 inches. So this bow goes from 28 to 11, and that's about it. The poundage here has all the PSE modules, all the little charts. I've got a spec sheet, and it says it's got 6 turns. So you've got 6 turns on limb bolts. I find it doesn't have a huge variance on the limb bolts itself as far as the poundage. 6 turns will drop it maybe 15 pounds. So a 40-pound bow drops back to 25. You then get some out of this, but then you've got to get the rest out of the strings and cables. Now this bow will still shoot fine when you've shortened the string, because actually shortening the string on a bow is not a bad thing, because it's putting more tension on the strings and cables. Lengthening the cable is actually going to move this lip, take tension off. But there is so much tension on this bow. You can see those limbs are still parallel. And I've lengthened the cables effectively. So I've lengthened the cables, the limbs are still parallel. There's still heaps of tension. This is actually the bow I shot in the test when I was comparing the kids' bows. So it's already been shortened, and I've had that adjustment made to it. And I still shot really good group, and it's still got a good speed. So because of the compression limbs, because you're putting so much tension on these strings and cables, the bow's just going to shoot fine. So that's the PSE Miniburner, the best bow on the market for kids, until someone comes out with something better. PSE has always had, in my opinion, probably the best bow on the market as far as kids. Before this, they had the Browning Micro Midas, which was top of the range kids bow, which is very similar to the Hoyt Ruckus today. That was on the market for probably 10 years prior, so you're talking about 15 years, and before that the Alpine Colt was pretty good. But yeah, PSE have really jumped over everyone else with these designs, but it is harder to adjust than the Ruckus, but the performance is far superior. So that's the PSE Miniburner. Get into it for your kids. I mean, it's a sport. Archery is a sport which lasts a lifetime. My kids shot this bow, and if I coach a lot of kids. If they're shooting this bow and they're coming up against a kid with a Hoyt Ruckus, I'm going to say the Hoyt Ruckus is going to lose, because I see some kids, they buy bows at other archery shops, and there's going to be people who say, I shoot really well with my Hoyt Ruckus. You would shoot better with this, guaranteed, no questions. You're giving up points not shooting this bow if you're a child. So anyway, that's the PSE Miniburner. I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Check it out and have a shot with it. I'm always more than happy for people to come and shoot my stuff, and I assume most shops would be, and if they're not, there's probably a reason for it, that they're not confident in their own product. And there are a few shops down the road from where I am who don't let you shoot their bows, and that's probably because they're not confident in their products they sell. That's my view. If you are, give it to the people and say try it out and see what you think. This is an awesome product, and you'll shoot really well with it. And 28 inches means it's going to last to a person almost adult size, although I don't recommend it for adults. So that's the PSE Miniburner, and many ladies shoot this bow also, although I prefer the PSE Stinger for ladies because it's a bit bigger. So I'm Stephen Hand, Archery Supplies. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye.